On this edition of Freedom Journal Iraq, Iraqi Army and security playing a strong role in operations and helping Iraqi families reconnect with their loved ones. Don't miss these stories and more on today's FJI. Hello, I'm Air Force Sergeant Braden Smith. Welcome to this edition of Freedom Journal Iraq. Recently, Iraqi Army and security forces have played a strong role in securing Basra, Maysan, and Mosul by ramping up security operations and raids on insurgents and militants. Senior Airman Michael Williams reports on how Iraqi military leaders believe upcoming operations are the final stages in driving al-Qaeda out of Iraq.
With crime down across Iraq, Interior Ministry spokesman Major General Abdul Karim Khalif spoke about the upcoming military offensive against criminals in Diyala province and his expectations that military forces will succeed there.
We have improved and we continue to improve. There was a 75% success rate during operation in Basra, and across the provinces the number of crimes are down by 80%. Other provinces need help. All the operations like the Charge of the Night and other show that Iraqi security forces have a new reached a level where they can work on security operations effectively.
This is a positive sign for government of Iraq entities who want to affirm their control in Diyala province.
Without security, other institutions would not be able to conduct their work. And not all the things are in place, and there are no justification for them not to be able to do their jobs. The atmosphere out very good, so now they can get back to work.
Recently, Diyala has been hit by numerous suicide attacks. General Khalif is hopeful the upcoming crackdown will decrease such attacks and bring peace to the province. Senior Airman Michael Williams, Baghdad.
The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers has enlisted a sailor to help bring additional megawatts to the masses in Iraq. Petty Officer Patrick Dilley has more.
This U.S. Navy engineering duty officer brings 20 years of experience to the $160 million expansion project at the Qudus plant north of Baghdad.
This job is very similar to the jobs I've had in some of the shipyards in the United States building Navy ships. Slightly different engineering, but it's pretty similar.
Commander Jerome Zinni is a project manager for the Army Corps of Engineers. The expansion job he directs involves the installation of 2 new Frame 9 gas turbine generators worth nearly $20 million apiece. Since switching from surface warfare to engineering in 1996, he has built and repaired warships in Japan and the eastern U.S.
Every ship that we build has a power plant in it. That's what I'm doing here. I'm building a power plant.
The expansion at Qudus will have a dramatic impact later this year when the 2 new units bring the total number of functional generators to 10. The projected output from the Frame 9s is more than twice that of the smaller LM6000 turbine generators on the site, and system engineers have added distinctive modifications to Units 9 and 10 to help with durability. Cool air intakes use evaporation to cool the air, while a filter system makes them more reliable during frequent sandstorms.
That's a system that's been used in the States quite a bit, particularly in the Southwest, where the environment is similar to here in Iraq, where it's hot and dry.
More commonly known as a swamp cooler, they're the first of their kind in Iraq, and they set a new standard here for adaptability.
Water is used not just to cool the air that's going into the turbine. It's also used when you shut down the turbine to wash the turbine blades in order to get a more efficient gas turbine operation.
In conjunction with the expansion is another project where crews are laying high voltage power lines in the ground to export the huge volume of electricity out of the plant.
And once the cabling's all installed, then we'll cover it up and rebuild the fence again.
The fence separates the generators from a 400 kilovolt switchyard that will transfer the plant's projected 460 kilowatts per hour out to the national power grid. Petty Officer Patrick Dilley, Qudus, Iraq.
Iraq's Ministry of Electricity and the Corps of Engineers had projected an aggressive 1-year completion in 2006, but took late delivery of the new Frame 9s in December of last year. A slow start in the first half of this year put the project further behind schedule, but Iraqi construction crews have made significant progress, and a new schedule sets a target completion in December. Coming up, helping detainees reconnect with their families. Stay tuned.
Here's your raid report. U.S. soldiers detained a known criminal in the Rashid district of southern Baghdad. The criminal was known for roadside bomb attacks against coalition forces. Killer Company SWAT captured the special group's criminal believed to be responsible for weapons smuggling and improvised explosive device attacks, indirect fire, and small arms fire attacks against Iraqi and coalition forces. U.S. soldiers received a mortar cache in the Rashid district of Baghdad. A local citizen turned in 5 mortar rounds to a combat outpost. An EOD team responded to handle the rounds. Koot Company SWAT arrested a suspected special group's criminal leader in the Wasit province. The suspect is said to be a member of a weapons smuggling cell known for storing and distributing explosively formed projectiles. And that's your raid report. I'm Senior Airman Michael Williams.
Here are the latest Operation Iraqi Freedom headlines. The U.S. is examining the possibility of withdrawing more forces from Iraq. The moves are reportedly under consideration because of improved security in Iraq and the need for more troops in Afghanistan. A government of Iraq spokesman is quoted as saying, "By the end of the year, there will be no green zone." He also said the concrete barriers around the area will be removed slowly, depending on the threat and circumstances. Prime Minister Maliki met with Germany's Minister for Economics and Technology in Baghdad. The two discussed strengthening ties between their nations and how Germany is committed to assisting Iraq's reconstruction. Arab tribes in Kirkuk have rejected any postponement of provincial elections in the city. Tribal leaders announced their approval of proposals to divide the province into 4 constituencies. Those are your headlines from around the region. I'm Airman First Class Shaylin Jordan.
Logistics. Keeping the warfighter in the fight, from factory to foxhole. Maintenance, supply, and transportation. Making sure the warfighter has what the warfighter needs. Reliable, predictable, whenever, wherever. If you buy it, scan it, pack it, ship it, lift it, fill it, or fix it, check it. What gets checked gets done.
Even inside the wire, coalition and Iraqi forces continue the battle against terrorism. As operations progress, reintegration programs in the detention facilities emerge. Air Force Sergeant Josie Weiss has a story about a program based on the understanding of family, unity, and the service members who are helping to rebuild trust within a nation.
There are different levels of comfort inside the air-conditioned waiting room at Camp Buca's Family Visitation Center. Wives wait for the chance to talk to their husbands, and children are anxious to see their fathers who are detained in the theater internment facility. In processing 12,000 visitors each month takes time, and the security forces members who operate the program handle each case with sensitivity and care, understanding the impact of their professional mission has a very personal nature.
If only for 2 hours, they get to see and tell stories about what happened. Just like when you call home, they get to do the same thing inside of our facility.
Each step brings the visitors closer to a loved one, and the feeling of anticipation isn't lost on the airmen who are helping to guide the process.
Right now, we have a lot of the families coming in, and when these detainees come in here in a minute, they're going to be, hugging their loved ones and everything else. I mean, that's something that we look forward to, and it changes us from the start of our day to the end of the day.
Even though they are thousands of miles away from their own families, these airmen step into non-traditional security roles every day in order to bring Iraqi families closer together.
To me, dealing with the children, it kind of gives me a sense of home as well. So I can imagine the way I feel when I see these kids, I can imagine they feel the same security and happiness when they see their brothers and uncles.
Being here and seeing them with their families, just like coming home. When we go home, we're all excited to see our loved ones. When these guys come here, it's the same feeling, and you just can't deny that.
Uniting families, the visitation program creates a level of comfort for the detained Iraqis, their loved ones, and the military members as they all strive to create home within a nation. Staff Sergeant Josie Wise, Camp Buca, Iraq.
And that wraps up this edition of our program. Be sure to log on to mnf-iraq.com, where you can learn all about the progress coalition forces are making throughout the country. If you have story ideas, we'd love to hear them. Just email us at fji@iraq.centcom.mil. From all of us here at AFN and Freedom Journal Iraq, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.